Hello members, this class is called The Warrior's Heart, and it is based on Jack Kornfield's concept of the warrior's heart from his book called A Path with Heart. This is the book we are reading right now for the book club on the membership site. So because I was so inspired by Jack Kornfield's idea of the warrior's heart, I wanted to make a whole class for you around it for the membership site. So for this class, you're going to need a pillow or a blanket. If you have a bolster, you can use a bolster, or if you don't have a bolster, you could use 2 blocks. We're going to start the class either lying over a bolster. Let me show you that. You can put the bolster right at the bottom of your ribs and lie down over it. And if this doesn't feel exactly comfortable, play around with the position of it on your back. If your low back feels uncomfortable, especially, play around with the position of it. And if you don't have a bolster, I'm just going to move this off to the side. You can use blocks. So again, the long block goes in the center of your rib cage, at the bottom of your rib, and then the tall block goes on. The tall block goes behind your head. Okay, so that's how you're going to be resting, and if you don't have blocks or a bolster, you can set yourself up with something like that, okay, so that your heart is open at the beginning as we start. Okay, the pillow or the blanket we're going to use after the beginning meditation. Okay, so as you lie over your props to begin, start by breathing into your heart center. And breathe from your nose down into your heart center. Feeling the energy from your heart expand outward into your body. And allow yourself to enter into a loving relationship with your breath. And with each breath you take, bring a loving acceptance to each breath. Be present in a kind and accepting way to your breath, to any thoughts that come up, to any emotions, to anything that's going on in your physical body. To your spirit. And allow any thoughts or emotions or physical sensations, images that want to rise to the surface right now to come up. so that nothing will be rejected. Nothing is wrong. And all emotions, thoughts, physical sensations will be met with loving acceptance. And again, return to the sensation of your breath at your heart center, and allow yourself to enter into an intimate relationship with your breath at your heart center. Connect with yourself with honesty and care. Feeling integrated with your body, your heart, your breath, and your spirit. And just be with your breath in a gentle and kind way. And just notice of any tendencies to rush or push or effort with your breath, and let that go with your next exhalation. And each time you breathe out, you can let go of any effort or striving. So this class is about the warrior's heart. And some of you will have read Jack Kornfield's book, A Path with Heart, and some of you will have read parts of it, and some of you will have not read it at all. So just let that idea of the warrior's heart sink in, and it doesn't matter if you've read it or not. But when you think of a warrior's heart, what does that bring up for you? What does that mean for you without having read it or not? It doesn't matter. And by way of making an intention for the class today, what would it mean for you to practice your yoga today with a warrior's heart? Once you set your intention for your practice, you can go ahead and wiggle and stretch out. And you're going to begin lying on your left side today. I just want to point out that I especially wore one of my favorite squeeze shirts today that Donna designed, and it's the Winged Heart. And I've been wearing this shirt every day this week because to me it's like the symbol of the warrior's heart. And Jack Kornfield, I've been listening to one of his meditations, his loving kindness meditation this week. And it's a healing loving kindness meditation that he does. And he talks about having a free and easy heart. And to me, this winged heart, it represents a free and easy heart, the way the wings are flying. And it's just such a beautiful heart. You know, it's not a hardened heart or a protected heart. It's the kind of heart that I would love to have, this free and easy heart. So I just think it's such a beautiful heart. And I've been, you know, it's cold here. Well, actually, it's warm here today, but so it's perfect. But I've been wearing it under everything every day because it's just, you know, it represents, and it sits right at your heart. It represents everything that I would love my heart to be. Free and easy. Okay. So counter rotation series to start to open our hearts, and it starts by opening up the back of your heart. So we're going to lie on our left side. And the pillow helps to keep your neck straight. This one, maybe not so much. Stack your hands one on top of each other. And you're going to start by gliding your shoulder blade away from your spine. And when you do that, your right hand will move beyond your left hand. So you start by opening up the back of your heart. Okay? Your shoulder blades sit at the back of your heart and protect the back of your heart along with your rib cage. So you're going to start to open up the armor at the back of your heart here first. Warrior's heart is open. And then we're going to open the front of your heart. So keep your head and your torso still for this. You're going to inhale, open your arm, straight arm. And then exhale and close. Inhale, open. And exhale and close. Okay, and then you're going to roll with it. So follow it with your eyes. You're going to roll onto your back. So you're rolling into the open twist here. Keep your knees stacked and bent up at a 90-degree angle. That'll help to create more slack in your upper body. Okay, and then the next time you roll open, just stay open. Pause. Look over your right shoulder. Breathe into your heart center. And just feel and sense any tightness around your heart center. Allow it to soften with your breath. And then you can roll back to your side and come onto your back and just feel the difference between your right and your left side. And you can feel and sense here really how much more your left side is held and lifted than your right side now that you've released your right side. And how much more your right side is letting go into the ground. And so we'll look at those qualities of the warrior's heart, how the warrior's heart surrenders and lets go, and you can feel how that's already happening here on the right side now. Okay, then you're going to roll over onto your right side. I'm going to do this in such a way that you'll be able to see me. So right side, your left hand is on top of your right hand. Your neck is straight. So you begin by gliding your left hand beyond your right hand. Your shoulder blade is moving away from your spine. That's the action that we're going for here. Okay, and then you're going to open your left arm. Keep your head and your spine and your torso still. To open your chest. Now you're opening your warrior's heart at the front of your body. Okay, and then the rolling, you're going to roll onto your back, and I'm going to, ooh, I do have room to do it here. So you're rolling into the twist here. Last week, somebody said they thought the microphone looked like a marshmallow on my face, and this week it's going to look like a something else right by my nose. A warrior's heart should have a good sense of humor. If a spiritual teacher doesn't have a sense of humor, you should run for the hills, that's for sure. That's what Jack Kornfield says at the end. I'll save you reading all the way to the end of the book. There's a big section at the end of the book about finding a good spiritual teacher, and there's a big section in there about they should have a good sense of humor. I was like, phew, God, that was in there. Check that off my list. Okay, this time you're going to stay open. Okay, and then come back and just lie on the back on your back now and feel the evenness of this. Put that off to the side. Okay. There, and now that should feel more even. Okay, I meant to tell you you're going to need to get a tennis ball. So you can press pause and go get yourself a tennis ball. So we're going to use the tennis ball on your back. This tennis ball looks like it might have been the dog's tennis ball, but that's okay. You're going to put it between your shoulder blades and your spine, so not on your spine, and you're going to roll it up and down your spine. So the idea here is that you're going to break down some of the armor that gets built up on your back. So when I think of the warrior, I think about the what's the name of those warriors that they show on the UFC? The gladiators, yeah, with the big armor. Yes. So we're gonna break down that armor that we built up, because we all have those situations, right, where we have those yes, we do, some of us had them this morning where we have those little hurts and we put on those armors to protect ourselves, right? And so we just gonna break them down a little bit with the tennis ball. So that's what you're gonna do. Place it on one side of your spine, and if this is too much, you can always go against the wall and do this standing up. Just roll up and down along the tennis ball, and you might find a trigger point where you might want to just hang out and let the tennis ball do its work by itself. So you can move along up your back. Got a good spot here. I don't know about you, but mine gets really tight right along the ridge. Don't worry, you won't put your RMTs out of business doing this. Just make them have a little less work. Breathe. That's the way. Oh yeah. Watch your hair, ladies. Or gentlemen. Some of you might have long hair too. Okay. I think that's enough dissolving armor for one side. Let's do the other side. Interesting. Good smile while you roll. Oh. Find those really good spots and hang out and smile. Holy macanoles. Oh. Be gentle with yourself. Breathe. When I go for acupuncture right now, my acupuncturist, when he puts a needle in, it really hurts. He goes, "You can't feel anything." It's really cute and funny. Okay. Oh. Wasn't this a good idea? I'm sure none of you are having the same upper back issues as me. Okay. That was fun. Okay, so there we go. Dissolving our gladiator armor for our warrior's heart. Doesn't that feel better? Okay, good job. So then you're going to put your tennis balls off to the side and come up onto all fours. Okay. And then from all fours, you're going to come to puppy pose. And in puppy pose, I'm going to try showing you an option with a block. But with puppy pose, your legs are at a 90-degree angle to the ground. Your arms are straight and forward. And you're going to open your heart center to the ground without pushing or striving. So this is a pretty big pose, but just allow your body to open as much as it wants to today. Okay? You could try. Here's some options. You could do this with a block for your head. So there's one option. That's especially, see, now I'm so mindful of options for people with migraines now. So there's a good option for people with migraines, not quite so much of an aversion. Another option for people with really tight shoulders in this pose is puppy, elbows bent. Okay, so there's two options for you in puppy. So when you do puppy pose today, let yourself open without pushing or striving. So let it just be a gentle opening of your heart. And then to come out of that pose, you can come forward and come back into child's pose with your hands down by your feet. And then inhale back up onto all fours. And we're going to come into thread the needles. So inhale, open your right arm out to the side. Take your right arm through. Going to lower your right side of your head to the ground. And think about moving from where that gladiator armor would be again around your rib cage, that part of your rib cage that protects your heart center. And be with yourself in a gentle and honest way and allow that part of your heart center to open as much or as little as it wants to today. Okay, and then you can release the side of your pose. Come back to the center. And let's do that pose on the other side. So inhale, open up the left side. Take your left arm between the space between your right wrist and your right knee. Lower your left shoulder to the ground. Rest your left shoulder, the left side of your head. Open up your heart here towards the sky. Allow your heart to be free and easy. And be gentle with yourself and honest with yourself, and let as much opening happen as wants to happen in your own body. And then you can slowly come up to the center again. And we're going to practice a pose called the Dying Warrior. So from all fours, you'll walk your knees to the left side of your mat, and you'll actually walk them off your mat just momentarily, so you don't need to freak out. And lower your hips down onto your mat, your right hips down onto your mat, and then you'll lower your chest down onto your mat, your arms out into a T position. Ladies, it can be useful to have a blanket underneath here. Okay, especially if it's tender there. Extend your legs out to your left side. Now you're going to leave your right bottom leg there. Listen carefully. Take your top left leg straight down. So this is Dying Warrior. So the truth is, the warrior's heart is sometimes wounded and has to retreat for introspection. And during that time of introspection, the wounded warrior has time to rediscover their gifts. And I actually wrote a whole article about this on the membership site, and you can take a look at it. There's a whole thread on it, and actually in the new membership site it's under the blog section, so you can take a look at that. But the wounded warrior is an important aspect of the warrior archetype and the warrior's heart. So when we think of warriors, we think of the strong, courageous warrior's heart, but the shadow side of the warrior is the wounded warrior, and an important part of it. So an important time, and an important time of introspection and learning, and of sharpening the sword. So you're going to gather your wounded warrior parts up to return to battle. The warrior always returns to battle again. And then we're going to do the other side. Oops, sorry, plant. Going to, this time, walk your knees out to the right side and lower your hips down to the left side of the mat, and lower your chest down to the mat. Take your arms out in a T position. Extend your legs out to the right side. Lower your right leg straight down. And there's the wounded warrior, or called Dying Warrior here. So the wounded warrior retreats, heals their wounds, and rediscovers their greatness. Okay, so gather up your wounded warrior parts to come back into battle. And we're going to do one of my favorite poses, downward facing frog. I'm just going to fold up my mat for a little more grip here under my hands. Downward facing frog, you lift your heels really high and you bend your knees a lot. So the whole focus here is on your spine and on lengthening your spine and opening your heart here. Okay, and then you can make your way up to standing. Okay, let's stand at the front of our mats. Take a big step back with your right foot. Turn your hips to face the front edge of your mat and sink down through your front left sit bone. Arc your arms straight up. So warrior one. So a warrior's heart faces life head on and doesn't push or strive, but it faces life with courage and strength. Doesn't run from life, but faces life directly. Release this pose from your body, and then take a step back with your left foot. Turn your hips to face the front edge of your mat. Sink down through your front right sit bone. Bend your front right knee. Arc your arms up. So a warrior's heart does not deny their own body or their relationship with themselves or their relationship with others. Okay. Release this pose from your body. Shake it out. And take your feet wide on the mat. Okay, let's bring our arms up to parallel to the ground. Turn your right toes out, sink down through your front right sit bone. So warrior two. And in this pose, let's explore our relationship with ourselves. So that in the center, this represents the present moment experience. So reflect on what your relationship is like with yourself in the present moment. And then turn and look over your left fingertips. And this represents the past. So what was your relationship like with yourself in the past? And then turn and look over your right fingertips and set some intention for what you would like your relationship to be like with yourself in the future. And lift your warrior's heart. Lower your arms, straighten your legs, turn your right toes forward, turn your left toes out, right toes in, sink down through your left sit bone, roll your left knee out, bring your arms up. Okay? So now let's consider your relationship with others. So again, center represents the present moment experience. Turn your head to look over your right fingertips. Reflect on all of those relationships with others in the past. So some of those you have let go of, and some of those are still with you. And come into the present moment. So your relationships with others in the present moment. And then turn your fingertips. And even some of those are in the process of being let go. And then turn your head and look over your left fingertips. And look into the future. And a warrior's heart knows that some relationships will come with them and some will be let go. Okay, and then release. And shake it out. And then stand in Tadasana. And we're going to stand in the center of your mat. And take your arms straight up. We're going to do Warrior 3 pose. And so Warrior 3 pose is about taking peaceful action and mindful action. 5 minutes, okay? Arms straight up overhead. And tip forward. So a warrior's heart takes peaceful and mindful action in their life. And find a way to let that pose out of your body. And a warrior's heart finds a way to bring their spiritual practices into life. So we talk about integrating our practice. Okay, good. One more pose, really important. Stand at the front of your mat. Take a big step back with your left foot. Turn your left toes out, sink down through your front right sit bone. Come up, Warrior 2 arms. Arc your left arm back, your right arm up. Peaceful warrior is about surrendering, letting go of striving and pushing. But more than that, Jack Kornfield talks about letting go of the war. And it's the internal war that we fight in our own bodies. So for me, and I talked about this in a post on the membership site, it's about letting go of that war of trying to prove myself. So we all have our own internal battles. So what is that war that you have to let go of? Peaceful warrior. Surrendering, letting go of pushing and striving. And release. Let's try that on the other side. I just did a pivot. So right toes in, left toes out. Warrior 2 on the other side. Bend your front left knee. Arc your right arm behind, left arm up. So what are you going to let go of? Ease into, release, surrender. And this pose is not, like I talk to my students about this a lot, this pose is not about being a dish rag or a doormat. Look how strong it is, but there's this beautiful serenity to it as well. There's trust. And just a real strength to it as well. So you can Let this pose out of your body. I hope you enjoyed this class on Jack Kornfield's ideas around the warrior's heart. I would love for you to take some time to reflect on what it means for you to have a warrior's heart and how you will take this idea of a warrior's heart with you out into your life. And I would love for you to post below and to have some discussion below on what it means for you to live and for us as a community to live with warriors' hearts as well. So finish your practice with a reclined twist and a shavasana, and I will see you on the forum. Namaste to your beautiful warriors' hearts.